Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
104.7 The K, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 110. Jay's pick this week. We went off the rails last week with Dawn of the Dead. Jay wanted to do another one like that, so he picked Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, whoever watched this one, you are welcome for that nonsense.
1978, which, interestingly enough, I believe is the same year that Dawn of the Dead came out, too.
Wow. These were both pretty cheesy movies.
Oh, dude, don't talk trash on the Dawn of the Dead. But yes, it is very campy.
I saw this in the movie theaters.
That's what I was going to have. It was the first question I was going to ask because you were so quick to pick this one. 78, you would have been like...
And I haven't seen it since.
Like 11, 12,
Yeah, I don't know. 8 or 9.
8 or 9, you went and saw this in the theaters?
Parents, this was the parent upbringing I had. Whoop, there goes the camera.
They were like...
This was the parental upbringing I had.
They let you. Okay, so what was your? If you can remember it at all,
I don't.
You don't remember your reaction.
No,
Did you think it was stupid? Did you think it was scary?
I don't know. I probably thought it was funny. I guess because when I watched it again now, gosh, it was goofy as hell.
It's so dumb. So they define it as a musical parody.
They were trying to be funny.
I'm going to go on record. Yes, it was a parody, and it feels a lot like the horror movies that were coming out like every week in the 50s, 60s, like the drive. So many different Attack of the Killer Amazon Women, Attack of the Killer Amazon Women from Mars, Attack from the Martians versus Santa Claus, like all these things that now Mystery Science Theater 3000, make fun of. Monos, movies. Hands of Fate. Like that took themselves extremely seriously, and then you go back and look, and you're like, "This is so stupid."
Plan 9.
Yeah. All those. There's so many. There's literally like thousands of those, and I think that's what they were trying to accomplish.
They did this. It for sure. Like the attack scenes of the tomatoes were hilarious,
dude. Well, I know. Like, I just wanted to take a whole segment and talk about how the tomatoes talk.
So
you never actually find out why they go crazy. You never actually find out why the tomatoes.
It sounds like somebody was trying to make a super vegetable, right?
Yeah, something like that. And then, but the opening series, the scene where they're like, Alfred Hitchcock put out the birds and people laughed.
Yes.
And then in 1975, a whole town gets attacked by birds. No one's laughing now. And it's like, dude, it's so stupid. But really, straight out of the gate, when that woman's in the kitchen in the first scene, and the tomatoes like,
it's so cheesy. And just all the little one-liner stuff.
Dude, it's so dumb.
And there's some politically incorrectness going on in this one, right? That was the days.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is some definite PC uncorrectness going on, which we can talk about next. Dark Side of the Stream continues in 4 minutes on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 110, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Now, before we talk about some of the very politically uncorrectedness of this movie, I want to go on record and say that I hate musicals. There are Grease, I love.
Grease is good.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch, I love that movie.
Xanadu is good. Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Horror. But basically, I'm like to 5 that I will sit through and watch and that I like. Outside of that, it just makes me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many scenes in this movie where it's like they're kind of talking about something serious and then someone breaks into song, you know what I mean?
It was a perfect parody for sure.
It's uncomfortable.
Looked like it was homemade to the bone.
Was the next thing I was going to talk about. Did you get the feeling like at certain points in this movie where you're watching,
you could have made this movie with your phone?
Did they use porn sets to make because you know what I'm talking about? Like the setup is so very 1978 porn. Like even in just serious weird sets, it's like the shot for a porn, but then instead of going to a sex scene, you go to a killer tomato attacking you or a guy drinking killer tomato juice and dying or what, fill in whatever death scenes you want to.
Really, really wacky.
Yeah, it's so weird, but straight out of the gate, I've seen this movie many times, but every time I watch it, I'm like, I have the feeling I'm like, they got just save money, on the production of this movie.
What do we got? These guys. What do we got around here?
We can get these real high dollar cinematographers.
Yeah, you just did that to me.
Sorry. Get this high dollar cinematographers shoot this thing, or we could get these guys that are just making porn and they're just as good and they're literally like a fourth of the cost. So let's use those guys.
Pretty epic.
So do you want to talk about the politically incorrectness of this?
Well, one I noticed was when they had their team of experts. They had the disguise experts. Had him dressed as Hitler. I was like, that would never fly these days.
Abraham Lincoln, George Washington,
yes.
Greta Ottenbaum.
Yeah,
it was definitely like, what the hell are you? But again, it's one of those
movies. Capsule in time.
It's a parody, okay? And again, like they are pushing it. Every time you think like, oh, this is so dumb, they're gonna push it further, and then you're like, okay, that's just so stupid. Then they push it further.
I tried to watch it with the girl, and she was over it.
She didn't make it past. She didn't make it past. As soon as the song starts, she's like, I'm out. This
5 minutes, she was out. Bad. Yeah, she was like, I'm done.
This is so bad. And then obviously, the plot is just so outlandish. I mean, they all end up in a stadium somewhere. And they play that song to kill them, and it's so stupid. But if you can make it through,
you can make it through. It's
only 87 minutes long, so it's not really even an hour and a half, which we have actually done a way longer Dark Side of the Stream episodes where we watched like full series documentary series that was like 5 hours long. So at least it was short. We'll talk about
the kids and the family and put it on.
Yeah, we'll talk about how much money this movie actually made next Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time. No, we got two more times. Dark Side of the Stream episode 110. And this week was Jay's pick, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. If you watched it at home, we're sorry, but we appreciate you for going on.
How much did it cost to make this movie?
So before we get into that, I want to talk about that when I'm watching I really did a good job this time, like paying attention, like to the aesthetics and like stuff that, as opposed to in the past, right? It was on TV and I was like, oh, this movie's so garbage or whatever. 3 guys wrote this movie. Okay. 3 dudes.
All right.
It took 3 guys to come up with this movie. Like, I mean,
I don't know.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, to answer your question, they estimate, they're not really even sure how much money they spent, but they estimate that they made this movie on $100,000, which really is extreme. I mean, that sounds like a lot of money to you and I, because we're poor DJs. But in the world of film, even in 1978, $100,000 for a film is literally like the bottom of the barrel. Like it is the lowest. To get a commercial released film in the United States.
That's a tough call, right?
That just blows me away. And it's $100,000. They made off of that $100,000 investment $567,000. So they 5 times return on that. So that would lead to Return of the Killer Tomatoes.
Right. I can't
Killer
believe
Tomatoes
it.
Strike Back.
Of this.
Killer Tomatoes Eat France. 4 Killer Tomato movies.
They took all that money, put it back into more films. Guaranteed they didn't make that money back.
No, not on those. Crazy thing is, Return of the Killer Tomatoes in 1988, which was like 10 years after this one, was one of the first films that George Clooney starred in. Isn't that interesting? Him and his eyebrows in that movie. So yeah, I mean that is a huge return on your investment, especially since you watch it and you're like, why would anyone? I mean, Variety said it isn't even worthy of sarcasm. Like it's just so
pure stupidity.
Stupid.
That's all.
But you know what? They call it one of history's most misunderstood films.
Oh, okay.
And so I guess if we don't get the joke or we're not getting whatever they're trying to do. Yeah, I thought I did too.
Got the joke.
And we're just gonna move on. We'll give it our reviews next. And what we're watching next week, Dark Side of the Stream returns in a few minutes on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time, discussing Attack of the Killer Tomatoes on episode 110. I will give it 2.
I give it 2.
2 Killer Tomatoes.
Mindless nonsense.
And that's just literally for the nostalgia part of it.
Yeah, mindless nonsense.
If I was really grading the movie, I would probably not even give it a tomato. But at the end of the day,
we give it
for some reason, just like trauma films
tomato.
And everything else that came out in this period, there, it's like
it's what it is.
It has a place, and it's parody, and it's weird, and it's honestly. I just watched Halloween Ends, and it is the most garbage.
Yeah, it's
Halloween Kills sucked and really made me mad. And Halloween Ends
said the monsters
was so
is not good.
Stupid. Yeah. I don't understand why they would trash it. It is just like
such a good series, right? And then they just
even the
bombed it.
ones that were like, you know, Halloween 6 and how whatever, like, dude, like some of them are nah, but like, dude, this was so bad. There was no reason to make the choices they
Let's
did.
get back to documentaries.
I'm just so mad. So I would give my point of this is that I would give Attack of the Killer Tomatoes a higher rating than Halloween Ends, to be quite honest with you.
Pretty bad.
All right, so next week, I know you're gonna love this one. Unsolved Mysteries is back on Netflix, but instead of doing the whole series at once, they're doing them in 3 chunks at a time. So my picks probably going forward will be those chunks at a time. So the first 3 episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, 2 of which are incredibly crazy. One is actually a killer still on the loose.
Ooh,
and then
could
a
be
UFO,
you or it could be me.
And you know, it's a chick, so it's not us.
Could be me.
Could be still, maybe could be me. And then the third one is a UFO story.
Oh.
A really good one. A really, really good one. Like basically the whole story follows he worked for the National Weather Service as a radio operator when the phenomenon happened in Michigan, and literally like saw it moving on and talks about, because at the time everyone was like, oh, you're crazy. National Weather Service.
Now
everybody's
not thinking
you're gonna have to move. You can't do this anymore.
We all laughed at Tom DeLonge for chasing him, but now who's laughing now, man?
Yep. So I figured I'd get your interest in at least knowing that you can watch a UFO
Something
story.
About UFOs.
But they're all short. They're like 45 minutes a piece, and they're crazy. So we can do those 3 for mine. 111 again. Stream this on Facebook every Thursday at 9. YouTube, our website, 1047thecave.com. Either watch it or as a podcast.
Call us up at our house.
Yeah. Just don't make us watch Attack of the Killer Tomatoes again. I'm Mike the Intern. This is Jay Stevens reminding you we watch movies so you don't have to. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.